Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide, where we know that nothing happens by chance. Everything is by divine appointment, and that we kept our divine appointment today. And if you're tuning in at this moment, this message is for you. I love our theme for the month, The Wizard Within. And what I love about New Thought Movement is that we take the universal archetypes and we apply them to our daily life, which is our temple and our religion. And it's interesting, Joseph Campbell, who wrote The Power of Myth and did a wonderful PBS series with Bill Moyer, discussed these universal archetypes, and I really just embodied them because I could see how they can run our lives if we're not aware of the energy or the component that they match up to our own consciousness. And it's so interesting. I moved last October after living in my home for 18 years. And I'm still looking for things. I have been looking for a certain book by Joseph Campbell. It's called the Joseph Campbell Companion. I have been looking for that for 5 months. And so I'm sitting in my little meditation room, which is getting more and more crowded every Sunday. We have all kinds of wonderful things in there. And Dr. Clayton walks in, and what does he have? He goes, I'm just cleaning up, and I'm getting rid of my storage spaces, and he says, I brought these 2 books, and one of them, of course, was the Joseph Campbell Companion that I own as well, that I had been looking for 5 months. So what I love about our way of life is that we, through the law of attraction and correspondence, energetically, that we call certain people in. And when we look at these universal archetypes, like Dorothy, who is the archetype of each and every one of us when we're on our spiritual quest, and we're not aware of it at the moment. We got to create a tornado, a bump on the head, and this whole whirlwind before we get it. But then there's a journey. There's an unfoldment. There's putting one foot in front of the other. It's attracting the most unlikely companions along the way that are very, very different. We join together through our similarities, and we grow through our differences, and that we have the willingness to grow through our differences. And this way of life acknowledges beyond color, race, creed, sexual orientation, or political affiliation, we are all one, and we are on the spiritual quest, whether we are consciously aware of it or not. Because trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. I don't want to be bobbing along on the oceans of life. I want to direct the energy. And when we embrace mindfulness, the awareness that I am mindful of my moments and not monitoring every moment, because I believe in the law of spontaneity, letting go and letting God do what God does best by means of each and every one of us who heard the call and answer that call, but also allow Spirit to do what Spirit does best by means of us. And that is to feel the joy of life. And if we're not in joy, we're in ego. Remember, joy is the most infallible sign of the presence of God. And that really our religion should be joyful. To make a joyful noise unto the Lord is to acknowledge my life is working and I am happy. And do I have challenges and stuff that comes up? Of course, we're all part of the human condition. Do I get the bump on the head? At times, yes, because that's what it takes. And when we get that bump on the head and we go into an altered state of consciousness and we start our journey, we start that journey in such a way that there is faith and there is knowingness. And what I loved about what Frank Baum did in The Wizard of Oz, in fact, I have the original book by Frank Baum because my late husband he taught school with the great-great-grandson of Frank Baum. And so he gave us an original copy. And if we look at the universal archetypes, that Dorothy was 12 years old. And that is pivotal because she was no longer a child and she was moving into adulthood. So the pivotal moment for us is that when we're no longer looking at an anthropomorphic God as Big Daddy with a little black book, taking down notes, right? And saying, okay, that's two. Suddenly, there is an awareness of a power and a presence in the universe that's greater than we are, and we can use it, but we're not quite in touch with it. We know that when we think of somebody, the phone rings, it's them. Oh, what a coincidence. So there's all these little coincidences along the way. We call them synchronicities. That when our awareness begins to open, we create these divine synchronicities that come in. And we create people, places, and things that are going to forward and advance our journey. And we're also going to create those that don't support us. Maybe they're threatened of us. And they might look like the Wicked Witch of the West. And we can outpicture and we can project on to this energy and think it's them, instead of realizing that it's all about our consciousness and what we create. We all have a dark side and we all have the light side. Hopefully that light penetrates the darkness, absorbs it, and eventually illuminates it. But when that stuff comes up, to recognize it for what it is. It's all fear-based. So when we start our quest, that spiritual quest, and know that I'm on this path, and I'm going to stay on this path, because it's 6:30 on the evolutionary clock, and I cannot go back. The call to God is so strong, or whatever we conceive to call our higher power. It doesn't matter. But it is so strong that we cannot go back. We put our foot on the path, and that's how it is. So putting our foot on the path and acknowledging, I'm kind of bored with Aunt M and the way that things have been around here. And I'm going to start a new adventure. And I'm going to project onto the school teacher that wants me to give Toto away. And the Toto represents, of course, the free spirit that's in the little basket that jumps out to Dorothy and into Dorothy's arms, because love always knows where it wants to be, always. So energetically, if we look at our own individual paths and that call to spirit, that call to the new direction, and the energy, we're still looking outside of ourselves because we're seeking someone as a great guru or a great wizard that's going to do it for us. We haven't come to the realization, the thing I'm looking for, I'm looking with. That energy within me that lives and moves and has its being at the center of my one life, which is God's life, which is my life now. And we are co-creators with this higher power. That's why I love our way of life, is that we take responsibility for our life, don't we? And the twin of responsibility is what? Freedom. There is no freedom without taking responsibility for our lives. But as long as we're looking outside ourselves, I'm off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I just love the way our beautiful fleet sang that. Because we're looking outside ourselves and we're off to see something and we're gonna get the goods. And it's all gonna be all right for us. Because this wizard outside of us is gonna get the job done for us. And then we create the most amazing companions along the way, all seeking something. And we're all seeking something. Dorothy wants to go, she wants to go back home. And she comes upon, the cowardly, first of all, the scarecrow, and the scarecrow that just wants a brain so badly. But, it's so interesting that I believe that we make the 18-inch journey every Sunday from the head to the heart. The longest journey on the planet is that journey from the head to the heart. So when the scarecrow wants some brains and wants to be brilliant and doesn't realize his own energy and his own genius within him, so he joins up with Dorothy. She's seeking, I need to find out, I need to get home, I need to get home to Aunt Em and Uncle Henry and everybody. Oh my God, I got what I wished for, and it isn't exactly what I wanted. How many of us, be careful what you pray for, because you might get it, right? You just might get it. And it's usually not in the form that we think it's going to show up in. It comes in a different form. And sometimes it looks like that wicked witch, doesn't it? So she's off, to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. She's on her quest. And who do they create but the cowardly lion looking for courage outside himself? The wizard is going to give me courage. Every single day that we arise in our lives takes courage. We make a choice. Every single day we take our first conscious breath. We make a choice. And that choice is to be here. To be here now. And to be mindful of this experience. On the way to our spiritual center this morning, and I had everything in the car and everything ready to go, and I went to get my keys and they were not in my purse. And they're always in my purse. So I felt like this little panicky feeling, you know how you get. Because this key fob is the only key I have to my car. This is it. So I'm sitting there in the car, and I said, all right, breathe. And I just breathed and breathed. I've already locked everything up. I gotta get the other keys now to unlock stuff. So just breathe. So I go, into my desk and it's not there. So I come back out. And I was in the mineral hot springs last night, and I put my bathing suit and towel over a chair, and I thought, I'm just gonna retrace my steps. And I saw this little pink fluffy ball that had a fin on it. It's supposed to be a mermaid, right? Easy to find. And there it was on the table as I'm breathing and I'm retracing my steps. And rather than saying, oh, you idiot, why did you leave them there? I said, be mindful, be mindful, be mindful. My key word is mindful. Always put the keys back where you know you're going to find them. Be mindful, be mindful, be mindful. So rather than beating myself up, I just shared what I share with you every Sunday, is conscious languaging. And as we use conscious language, we are mindful. We are mindful, we are mindful. And when we are needing rest, we need, I say, I am resting, I am regenerating, I am recreating my energy, rather than saying, I am tired. Because when we tell the universe that we're tired, the universe says, yes, you are, you're not even looking so good. Yeah, I can see that you're really tired. In fact, you must be exhausted. Oh, am I exhausted? We're using the I am, right? Whatever we put after I am creates our reality. So exhaustion then goes into what? Fatigue. Oh my God, I'm so fatigued. And what does that go into? Dis-ease. We now have to lay down because we're not feeling so good. That's how that works. So where thought goes, energy flows might sound very cliche. And it was actually, it's a quote from Dr. Ernest Holmes, who's the founder of the science of mind and religious science, the laws of science, the opinions of philosophy, the revelations of religion applied to human need and the aspirations of man and woman and every living soul. So on this day, as we're going to start out, it's a 5-Sunday month, gang. We are off to see the wizard, the wonderful wizard within. And we are on a spiritual journey. And what I love about our way of life, and in the 44 years that I've been doing this ministry and various other ministries, is that it's about our own evolution, our own growth, and our own unfoldment. And if we are not growing and moving up the spiral, we are moving down the spiral toward death and entropy. So life is not static, remember. Life tarries not, it goes not backward. It is the forward progression of the soul. And when we get it, that it's the forward progression of the soul, and that we are all on our journey, we're all on this amazing quest to the Emerald City. And don't we love that the Emerald City, that green of abundance and prosperity and energy, and the emerald of the heart chakra, remembering that the chakra means, in the ancient Sanskrit, a wheel spinning energy in a clockwise fashion. And that we have 7 major chakras. The green is the heart chakra. It's the heart center. It's the healing center. It's the abundance. Green is abundance. It's energy, it's life, it's new life, and also kind of encircled with a lighter shade of pink, which is compassion and forgiveness within the heart center. So we are on our quest. We are about spiritual growth. That's what I loved when Reverend Perry brought The Triumph of the Human Spirit, where he talks about slavery and looks at it and how far the African people have come and the contribution that has been made to this country through their sacrifice and their willingness to be here. And this is it, our willingness to be where we are and accept what is at the moment, because it can shift at any moment. I talked last week to our beautiful Jesse Pinder, who wrote a best-selling book called From the Cat House to the White House. And he is 105 years old now. 105 years old. And he is just an amazing man, is. And he was very fragile. He was experiencing through cancer, but knew it was me and was very happy that it was me. And in his book, From the Cat House to the White House, he knew that he loved to cook. So, he was cooking in the South at a brothel, and, he really honed his skills, and he graduated on to other venues. And found himself in the White House as President Ford's personal chef. And he said to President Ford, "If I'd known you were so nice, I would have voted for you." And President Ford said, "You don't have to have voted for me to be my personal chef," which was very magnanimous of President Ford, I will say. And when we look at the lives and the journeys, that this man, when regardless, and I'm not being political, that to bear witness to a man of color that has holding the highest office in our nation was pretty astounding. He came that Sunday. In fact, I was in Nigeria, and they were putting the newspaper out, and I rolled down the window, and because I had sent my ballot in, and I asked, to have a newspaper so that I could bear witness to this event that had just transpired. So we're all on a quest. We're all following the yellow brick road, the yellow of enlightenment, the yellow that allows us to be taken into that rainbow. For when the rainbow appears, I will remember the everlasting covenant between me and all living things. That we are all one. We are on our quest. We're off to see the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Looks like it's outside of ourselves. Looks like we're worshiping a god and a big throne, that we're giving our power away to something outside of us, but we all start out that way. And when we learn and grow and unfold, we realize that the power was within us all the time. But there is a sequence to this. And this is why I love this theme for the month, because we're looking at archetypes. We're looking at, sometimes we're 12 years old, and we are now moving into the next dimension of our spiritual unfoldment. We come in, the archetype of the innocent child, where all is beautiful and wonderful, and then moves into disillusionment, which is the child that feels orphaned, that feels forsaken. And then steps in who? The warrior energy. The warrior archetype says, I'm going to do something about this. And it's an inner revolution that creates an outer evolution. And the fourth, of course, in this first quadrant of archetypes, is the caregiver, where we learn to nurture ourselves, to take care of ourselves, and the beauty and the energy that we have garnered along the way to feel compassion for ourselves, others, and ultimately the entire global family. So I am very excited about this month and this theme, and I always create, some amazing experiences for myself. And last week when I was giving the keynote address for the Shinto temple shrine in Los Angeles, I could feel that there was such a oneness in this energy field. And I just kind of shifted my little prayer that I've been doing for years. In the dawning of the spiritual sun, for a moment all faiths became as one. That right now, somewhere in the world, a Jew is saying his prayers. A Shinto is kneeling at a sacred shrine, and a Buddhist is open to her glory, her energy, as is the Muslim that hears the call to Allah. So we are all one. And in this oneness do we live and move and have our being in this quest that we call life, which is so amazing, such an amazing journey. So we are all going somewhere. Where is that? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. Where? Higher yet. Because we are in a high place and we will not come down. None of these outer things move us. We are in a high place and we will not come down. I say to you, Namaste. The God in me salutes the God in you, and the God in you salutes the God in me. And if I'm in that place in me, and you are in that place in you, there truly is only one of us. I say Shalom, the peace that passes all understanding in this beautiful Lieberman Chapel. And God bless us, everyone. And so it is. Thank you.